18 past 7. And are you spotting more crocodiles in Central Queensland? Maybe in the Fitzroy when you're fishing down the coast? We've heard reports just recently of a number of sightings that were, in inverted commas, close calls. We were actually told by Kent Murray a couple of weeks ago that someone was reporting that they were at a boat ramp and they had their bait bucket, and a croc, 2-metre croc came up, grabbed the bait bucket looking for a cheap feed. And as we heard from Charlie just before 7 o'clock this morning, the one at the barrage that's easily 3 metres long. So have you spotted crocodiles, and do you think they should be removed? As we'll hear from James Ashby, the candidate for Keppel for One Nation in just a sec. It's been a long time since the stopping of culling came into place in Queensland. So James joins me now. James, great to talk to you.
Yeah, morning, Aaron. How are you?
Good. Why should crocodiles be removed?
Well, you're right. It's been 50 years since we stopped the culling of crocodiles in Queensland. In fact, they've been a protected species now for 5 decades. And the issue with that is that the croc numbers have simply grown in our area in particular. Look, they don't have a great survival rate in the wild, to be quite honest. Only about 2% of crocs that are hatched actually survive. But when they do, they've got a long life and they grow quite quickly, quite big. And then they start producing, and that's what we've had 50 years of. So more and more people around this region are starting to see crocs where we typically haven't. I'm near Ross Creek down at the beach there, and we see kids on a weekend particularly, they jump off there and into the water off the bridge. And the problem that I see is when March and April come around and some of those younger male crocs are looking for new habitat, the last thing I want to see is kids get harmed or people walking their dog along the beach have to face an opportunistic croc that's looking for a feed.
Right, that is a terrible thought, and especially when you talk about situations, and we did it just before 7 about, you see people up to their waist fishing on the coast, and then you also have people who stand in the Fitzroy. But what about the argument that it's their territory? We know it's croc country and that we just shouldn't be doing those sorts of activities.
Well, this isn't typically croc country on the beaches of Yeppoon or Emu Park or Zilsey or Keppel Sands. A lot of these crocs have been pushed out from northern waters and then they come looking for new territory down in the south. And so the Fitzroy has been a breeding ground. More so, believe it or not, Aaron, more so past the barrage in the fresh water.
Yeah.
So crocs have got up there. Now, 20-odd years ago when I was skiing and jet skiing up in the fresh water of the barrage, past the barrage, you didn't have that worry of crocs. There were some up there, but I was talking to John Lever the other day from Corona Crocodile Farm about this. He said to me that there's more croc breeding going on in the fresh water than there is in the salt. And he said what happens is every time we get a flooding event, when they open the barrage, all those young baby crocodiles that just can't handle the force of the current, they end up getting swept down out into the salt part of the Fitzroy River. And so we end up with these opportunistic crocs that are jumping onto boats, jumping onto pontoons, stealing bait buckets. They're the ones that we've got to worry about. They're the ones that should be removed immediately from public areas. But the problem that we've got is that those decisions are made in Brisbane, a place that has no understanding of croc territory.
You're right. What about this survey that One Nation did last year that proved that an overwhelming number of people supported a return to culls?
Well, they might approve of culls, but there's also other measures that can be taken. These problem crocs that are in public areas, and we're talking about areas where kids swim, where people fish, boat ramps, those areas where you just want to feel safe when you're around them. Of course, you can still be mindful of crocs in the water. We should always be that way in the event that there is something lurking beneath the surface. But we don't have a problem taking out sharks on hooks off those drum lines.
Yeah.
We don't have a problem taking them out with nets, but we have this, for some reason there's a cohort of lefty little lunatics that think that, we don't want to take crocodiles out.
Yeah.
Come on. Very few people survive a crocodile attack. You've got more chance of survival against sharks, and yet we don't have any problem taking them out.
All right, it'll be interesting to see what people say this morning, 49227990, and I've also put it up on our Facebook page. Good to chat to you, James. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Aaron. See ya.
James Ashby, the candidate for Keppel for One Nation. Have your say, 49227990, or on our Facebook page. Should they be removed?